welcome back to another episode of Stories from the Dirt. Kara and I are bringing to you today Amber Slawson. Amber and I first met during the Rebel my rookie year, her rookie year, and since then I've learned a lot about her, and she's a pretty cool chick. She's a welder, she's a KOH competitor and finisher, and so we just want to find out, how did she get here, and get some stories from her. Hi Amber, how are you today?
I'm good. It's nice to be on here.
Nice.
Glad to have
Can you
you.
want to tell us a couple things about yourself?
Just a quick little introduction, I guess. You did a pretty good job with it.
Excellent.
I'm a welder and a fabricator. I've been doing it for almost 10 years now, and I got into it because of my little samurai. I wanted to put rock sliders on it, so that's why I started welding. Um, and then I started racing King of the Hammers in 2020. So this year, 2024, was my fifth King of the Hammers race, and the first 5 years I've been racing my Samurai. And this year I also got to race a bomber, Legends class, so basically a limited class bomber, which is the cars that we build now. Got to race that in the unlimited class. So that's kind of my little story going right now. I get to race bigger cars.
Fun. And your quote little samurai, you rock that in the KOH, and am I not mistaken, it's the first samurai to ever compete?
It was the first Samurai to compete in 4600 stock class. Yeah.
Okay. And
It's a freaking sweet car.
Oh, thank you.
Your brother has one that's kind of a twin of it, right?
Yeah, so that one, it's a funny story because that was actually my sister's old Samurai that, she had bought, and I picked out all the parts for it and helped install a lot of the stuff. And then she got tired of it, so she gave it to my brother, and he did a whole bunch of work to it after that. But he brought it to Hammers 2 years ago with a paint job that looked exactly like mine. It was
That's
silver with
awesome.
stripes. It was like the greatest surprise ever.
That's
And
sweet.
so I was there that year, and I didn't realize that prior to that year they didn't look alike.
Yeah. I think before that one was green, but I don't think Stuart had ever wheeled it before it didn't look like mine.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
twinsing.
Yeah, I got a doppelganger.
That's awesome. Where do you just go buy a samurai? Like, how do you? I want the details. My
Um,
husband, he was like, "Ooh, I'd love to have one of those," because we looked at the old like CJs, and that just gets kind of expensive. We want kind of like a samurai that we can like beat the crap out of it.
oh yeah, I mean, so prices have finally gone back down and they're getting like way more reasonable now. But if you just keep your eye on Marketplace, occasionally one will pop up that needs like, you know, there's one locally to me right now that needs a transmission. The guy wants $4,500 for it, and it's got a bunch of sweet parts on it. And I'm
Okay, we're
like, I
talking
don't really
about
like.
this after the show.
Okay, we're talking about this, but yeah, samurais have come back down in price. For a while there, they were super expensive, around COVID, but they're back out there for $1,500 sometimes.
This is going to be another episode of What Did Kara Buy Today?
Yes.
It's always something, Amber. It's always something. There you go.
I'm not even
We
playing.
just
You
bought
don't know.
Kara a samurai, I think.
Gonna have to make a road trip.
My vehicle is. I don't know Where are you out of, Amber?
I'm in northern Nevada.
Okay, well I've got a good a Jeep from Avis. I could just swing by.
There you go. It's practically in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's everything. Everything is on the way. Everything. It just takes a little extra time.
Just just get a 40-foot trailer and fill it up.
For two
Perfect.
people, is it? Well, it's not drivable, so I'd have to get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Bring a
Okay.
trailer.
Now I'm distracted for the rest of the show.
Okay. Perfect. So those of us who are not as familiar with KOH, kind of tell us, what does that mean? 4600 unlimited legend, like, give us a brief rundown of how that all shakes out.
Yeah, so King of the Hammers is, I mean, as you guys probably know, is the world's hardest one-day off-road race. It's usually 2 to 3 laps depending on what class you run. So I've always run in the Everyman Challenge, which typically runs the last Friday of the event. And in the Everyman Challenge is 4,600 stock class, 4,500 modified class, 4,800 Legends class. And the Everyman Challenge is geared more towards, like it's named, the Everyman. So, like in stock class, we have to maintain like 80% of the original vehicle body. You can't modify the frame. If it came with leaf springs, you have to stay with leaf springs. If it came with IFS, you have to stay with IFS, that kind of thing. And stock motor, stock transmission. So my Samurai has the stock 1.3 liter motor. In the first couple of years, let's see, probably the first 3 years, I still ran a carburetor. So that was fun, all 60 horsepower. Uh, and then also the first 2 years I ran on stock axles, stock Samurai axles. But after that, I went to Toyota axles. It gave me a big advantage. So that's pretty much it. With the modified classes are 4,500 modified class is kind of a step up. It's a much more competitive class because it's really small, and then the 48 class is really, really big, and that's what I'm competing in this year in the Bomber. So they made the 4,800 Legends class to kind of be for retired unlimited class cars. So it's all solid axle, front engine, and one shock per corner with maximum 37-inch tall tires.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So do you feel like are you excited about that, the new class? Or are you just like, because you've kind of worked your way up, I guess?
Yeah. So it's a big jump for me because when I was racing my Samurai, that's not a vehicle that's competitive at all. If
Right.
anything, it's arguably like the least competitive vehicle in the
You're
whole field.
literally doing it because you're doing it in a Samurai, and that's VA. So
Yeah. I was just doing it to finish. That was my whole goal, and I gave
yeah.
myself 5 years to do it. And on the fourth year, we actually got all the miles done, and I was about 2 hours out of the cutoff time.
hmm
And then this past year, I was only half an hour out of the cutoff time. So I got that close.
Oh
but
man.
but yeah, jumping from the stock class to the Legends class, now that I'm in a vehicle, actually the car that I'm racing this year won the overall last year.
Oh.
So it's a highly competitive vehicle. And so I've had to step up my skill set a lot. And I've been spending a lot of time in the car, getting to know it. Obviously, I build these things too. So I know them pretty much inside and out. So I've got that advantage going for me. But it's 400 more horsepower than my Samurai.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when
That
you say
sounds
you get
like fun.
inside it to learn it, so are you just getting inside and going and driving around? Like how do you prepare for that?
Yeah, pretty much just going and driving around. Where we live in northern Nevada, literally we're kitty
Everything.
corner to BLM land. So we just go straight out the driveway and we're on miles and miles of open space. And so we take the cars out there. One weekend, we actually did about 350 miles out to a spot called Sand Mountain. I think there might have been a
Mhm.
Rebel rally, yeah, training there.
Mhm.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
It was
so
around the same time actually.
yeah, I think it was. I saw the pictures from it. I was like, I was just there.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. So, and I don't know how far it is as the crow flies from us, but that weekend we did about 350 miles just going out in the desert. And
That's awesome.
where we live too, like there's a bunch of Vegas to Reno course
Yeah.
and racing and stuff like that. So we try to go run that part of the course and that stuff out there. So,
Nice.
Is the
Good to know.
KOH, is it like, would you consider it, I mean, it's mostly like speed and trying to get to the finish, like for people that aren't familiar with like KOH stuff, can you explain, like, it's the one dayers or whatever, but exactly is the format?
yeah. So in the Everyman Challenge, it's 2 laps. There's the first lap is mostly desert, and the second lap is all rocks. So altogether, I think this year it was around 150 miles. So
It's so
my
weird to hear miles versus kilometers. I'm like, wait, what?
America. um, yeah, so my strong suit is the rocks because I've always
Mhm.
loved rock crawling and I've been doing that for so long, and I'm super confident in that. so most of my driving that I've been focusing on right now is just driving in the desert and going really fast. I realized the other day that the consequences when you're rock crawling are relatively low. What are you going to do? Like flip? Like worst case scenario, you're on your lid, you flip
Yep.
back over, big
Yep.
flip. But in the desert, if you're going 80, 90, 100 miles an
It's
hour,
very high consequence.
yeah. So you have to be very careful.
Unless you're rock crawling like on a shelf road, you're pretty much gonna just fall a like you're gonna have some body damage, but whatever, But like I mean, Jesse Combs, go fast. It's got a huge consequence level.
Yeah.
The higher the speed, the higher the consequences. So
Yeah, it's crazy. So, circling back to where I met you in the Rebel training with your mom, how did that, like, KOH driver to Rebel navigator, letting your mom drive you around for 8 days?
so when we did rebel, we actually planned to like switch off.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I ended up just being more happier in the passenger seat. I told my mom because it was her thing. Like she wanted to do Rebel Rally, and I wanted to support her doing that. And we were a pretty good team. And even though I don't know if you guys have the same experience, but when I was in the Rebel Rally, I hated it during in the moment. Like this sucks. But looking back on it, it was a great experience, and I loved it. And I loved the time that I got to spend with my mom. Um,
So for
so
you,
and
KOH came before Rebel, and then you did Rebel. Okay, so has your mom always been in the off-roading, like the outdoors kind of space too?
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, so my whole family does the off-roading and outdoorsy rock
Okay.
crawlings
Okay.
together. So our first King of the Hammers that we went to was in 2014, and we all came out at the same time, and we did like a 3-day camping trip out to
Oh,
Johnson
cool.
Valley and watched the race. And my whole family's come pretty much every year since then. My mom still volunteers; she's like a lead volunteer at Hammers these days. Um, and my dad actually
Awesome.
co-drove with me the first year. My brother's co-driven with me. So
So it's a
yeah.
whole family event. So the rally for you was just so you the navigator, I guess, since you were the passenger, and then like did she do any training navigating? Like how tell me the whole dynamic. I want to hear everything.
So
And go.
like yeah, geez. I mean, for most rookies, right, it's a brand new thing you got to learn. So the maps and all that stuff. And we went to the training where we met Avis, obviously, and we got to learn a lot that way. Um, uh, but I don't know if she wanted to drive or if she just like wanted to let me navigate.
Or she
But
didn't want to navigate.
yeah, you know what though? It was probably more that she didn't want to navigate because there's math involved
Oh,
in writing down the timing and plotting points and all that kind of stuff. And,
yeah.
and that kind of stuff worked out in my brain, so I kind of liked it. Oh, dang it, I lost my train of thought.
We've we've wondered before what the dynamic is like, would I wanna compete with one of my daughters or my
Oh, well
mother?
said.
Like, what is
Period.
the
Yeah.
dynamic with that? Like, does she naturally she's naturally, quote, "the boss," or I mean, she's known around town, just out in the, community as the mayor. I mean, lots of people call her the mayor. Like, what is it like being in the car with Dolly, your mom, the mayor, and trying to work together? What are those dynamics?
That's a really good question. It's just her and I have such a good relationship, and we always have. And she's always been super supportive of all the stuff I do, and she's just really open for everything and willing to learn was most of it. So I mean, I think we butted heads a couple times, but looking back on it, it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
So it's not
That's
like
pretty normal.
right? It's not like we went away from it hating each other.
That's good, that's good. Um, things get a little tense, so I've always just wondered, like, how does the mother-daughter dynamic play into that?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Was she more like the mom in the car, or was she more like a driver? And like, like did that switch off like at the end of the day whenever you're sitting around the tables at night, then it's like I'm just hanging out with my mom rather than a teammate? Or was it always just this dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, when you bring it up that way, it was pretty much like, after we got out of the car, either we were too tired to hang out with each other and we would go our separate ways, or we'd just hang out like mother daughter. You know, she's my
That's
mom.
awesome.
But in the car, it was like my favorite part basically was teaching her how to control the car and how to drive it, because she's not super experienced, or she wasn't. And so one of my favorite moments is teaching her how to accelerate into the whoops so that the suspensions, you know,
Mm-hmm.
oh geez, I forgot the word for it. Basically, so the suspension soaks up the
It's
whoops
like
better and
loaded.
faster. Yeah, loaded exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a lot of fun for me, and just I feel like I had a lot of control, which helped my mental state a little bit, and she might have felt a little bit out of control, and
Mm-hmm.
so our dynamic to like, I knew that whatever we got ourselves into, I could get us out of.
Right.
And so having that and being able to show my mom all the stuff that we can do when we're that confident was super fun. So
That sounds amazing.
What vehicle did you drive in the rally?
it's a 2001, I think, Isuzu Vehicross.
What is that?
It's
So my first vehicle was an Isuzu Ombre. It was like an old, like little looking Ford Ranger truck. It like had a little bit of an extended cab. It was green. It was hideous. I did not choose it, but it was free for me and I didn't have to pay for it. So it was like the best truck.
Ding, ding, ding.
I can haul some of my friends in the back. It's great.
Yeah, the Vehicross, my mom has this great little spiel on it because she's really into it. But there were only like 3,000 or something that were made in the US.
There's a reason.
Right? They're pretty rare. They came with a little V6 motor and stock with bypass shocks for some reason. They're IFS in the front. And they came with like Recaro seats. They were like, it's basically an Isuzu Trooper chassis, and most of the
RAV4
parts.
Subaru combo.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like Trooper parts, but with this funky, like almost nut-shaped body on top.
Yeah, literally. I just had to look it up because I needed a visual.
Yeah, and it has a low range transfer case, right? So you guys were in the 4x4 class.
Yep, correct.
Oh wow, really?
Okay. Yes, to look at it is shocking.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
But man, I'm just thinking like a samurai too. Like you could build the crap out. Like that would be just fun,
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got a little stock samurai actually, and they posted up on the Rebel Rally Instagram a while ago about the 40-30 class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 40 is the new 30, and my little stock samurai will be turning 40 in like 4 years.
Like yeah,
so I threatened to do that.
You're coming back, right? You're coming back.
I just have to put AC on it, but then I've heard the motors don't want to run because it pulls so much power.
Yeah.
I think one of the oh no, I think they got it fixed. One of the Broncos this year coming in to Mammoth lost its AC, but I think they did get it fixed like at the 13th hour.
Oh, that's good. I wouldn't. Rebel Rally is one of those things I wouldn't want to do without AC. I've seen girls do it and they're badasses.
Yeah, I know in 2023 because of the course changes, it made some longer stages and the EVs were not able to run their AC because of battery charge.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think that included Nina and Tara Lynn for at least a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's dedication right there.
Yeah.
No
for
kidding.
Sure. You want your vehicle to be fully functioning, and if it has AC, I'm gonna want to run it.
Oh yeah, for sure. You don't get any engine noises. You at least gotta have the AC blowing.
Facts.
Well, the year you and I were rookies, Amber, Tara and I ran the 392, and I know at least one day Tara stopped running the AC because of fuel economy.
Oh,
We rolled in a couple of times with the gas light on.
Yeah.
That when in doubt, throttle out thing, it takes a lot of fuel.
I know, right?
So how did you start fabricating, like in the welding, and how did you get into all of that?
So, like I said earlier, I'll just roll it all the way back, I guess. I bought my Samurai right after high school in 2012, and I was already kind of into off-roading a little bit at that point.
Mm-hmm.
my first trip to the Rubicon Trail was in 2011. So I
Oh, I
wanted
want
my
to go
own.
do that so bad.
Yeah, I'm there all the time. I love it. But so I bought this little Samurai for $500, and I wanted to build it in my little off-road toy. So I took a welding class at community college to build rock sliders for my little off-road toy, and I ended up never building the rock sliders. But I ended up taking every welding class that my community college offered. I never got my degree, but in 2015 I started working at a local like off-road kind of
Hmm.
fab shop.
Hmm.
The rest is history.
That's awesome. I took welding in school, and so like I was able to perfect like my beads, but I couldn't do anything. Probably I could make perfect beads for you all day long, but that's about all I got.
Hey, that's half the battle.
I've never welded, so there you go, Kara. You're a step above me.
We're gonna have to change that, Avis.
Yeah. We are changing. Kara and I are changing the Rubicon Trail thing this spring, so maybe we'll run into you out there.
Ooh, what month?
We have no
September.
idea
Um,
yet.
well, I talked to Lisa. Lisa is supposed to be taking us on our virgin outing of the
Oh,
Rubicon
cool.
with her husband, and she said anywhere from mid-June to mid-July is our
June
target
to July.
area. Yeah, that's
Perfect.
our target for this year. It's after the snow, but before it starts getting too crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So I run an event on Rubicon called ZukiCon, and we usually do it Father's Day weekend. So that's like the second weekend in June.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of just a like 3 day trail ride for Suzuki owners to come out and experience. Like you guys have never experienced it.
I'm gonna
I
have
put
to get this Suzuki and just come on it.
No, can we bring our Jeeps?
Yeah, you can totally bring your Jeeps. My parents bring their Jeep, so
See, we can take our Jeeps.
Oh
yeah,
no, I gotta provide a reason for the Suzuki.
there you go.
Oh, okay, okay. I
Just
see, I see.
I just want to know where all these the more podcasts I do with Avis, the more amazing women that I meet, and I'm just like, where have y'all been my whole life?
Yeah. Oh, another fun fact about Amber, the first time I met her, she looked kind of like she does here now, and then we cleaned up and we came back for dinner, and I was standing beside her for probably 40 minutes before I realized who she was because she has this gorgeous hair that you can't see right now, and it's these beautiful little ringlets, and she was
That's
wearing,
awesome.
like, girly clothes, and I thought she was a totally different person. Honest to God. I was like, "Oh, wait, I know you." I actually said that.
Sounds like
I
my
do
experience at
remember
the
that
gala
too.
too.
Yeah, do you remember that? Yeah.
Oh, totally.
That was
That's
really
awesome.
funny. Yeah, her hair is gorgeous, so one day you'll see it. I mean, you do see it now, and it is pretty now, but you know what I'm saying.
I do.
It
I do.
it's the kind of rings that, like, people without curly hair desire.
I desire any bit of curl. Danielle has curly. She's my teammate. I'm the driver for my team, and well, I mean, I'm going to try to learn some more navigation this year. But she's the primary role is her navigating, and I'm driving, and so she has the rings like you do, and I'm always envious of it. She hates it, and she's always talking about the trouble it takes as far as like keeping it managed pretty. Otherwise, it's just thrown up in a ponytail and big and floofy. I'm like, I would love it. I would love it so much, but I probably wouldn't. You're never happy with what you have.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually straightened my hair all through high school, and I didn't realize like how curly my hair was until I was like 25.
Oh well,
So nowadays I just embrace it, and it's pretty easy. So I
yeah,
keep it low maintenance. It goes up into a ponytail most of the time, anyways, because I can't wear it down at work. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Long hair and welding, I hear, is not a good combination.
no, don't
So
want to burn this stuff off.
do you still weld and do all the things? Like, what is your full time day job gig besides being an amazing KOH driver?
It depends on the time of the year, I guess, because I mean, so my full time job description is basically j- jack of all trades at Bomber Fabrication. And at Bomber Fabrication, we build the race cars that race KOH, and my boss and husband Randy has won 3 times. He's taken the overall win 3 times at King of the Hammers.
That's
So these are
incredible.
cars, yeah, that are highly competitive. and very well built and works of art. So I do still weld. I do like 95, probably 99 to 100% of the chassis welding.
Hmm.
So if you walk up to a newer bomber car, probably, either mine or Randy's or one of the other ones out there, it's pretty good chance those are my welds. So
That's
I do
awesome.
that. And then I also, like this time of the year, it's Hammers prep season, and we have racers that need parts. So I make sure those guys get what they need. That's kind of like the most rewarding part of my job, is helping our racers either get to the starting line or finish their race.
Hmm.
And then I also do, regular office stuff like purchasing and invoicing and customers and stuff like
Yeah,
that. So a little bit of jack of all trades.
that's rad.
Nice. Small family business. That's the way it's nice like that.
Yeah, exactly. Small business stuff.
Yeah. So I know you said the first time you guys went to King of the Hammers was 2014. Was that just to watch? Nobody was racing at the time?
Yeah, we just went because we were on Rubicon Trail actually, and this guy that we ran into that we didn't even know starts talking about this thing down in the Southern California desert called King of the Hammers, and it's so crazy, and you guys got to go to it. It's so cool.
I've only
So the
seen it from
next
TV. I've always wanted to go.
the next year we just made it a 3-day trip. It's usually back then it was only a week long event. These days it's like 3 weeks.
That's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, but yeah, we went down and camped out on the lake bed, which was kind of a mistake. We figured that out. But yeah, we just camped and then we volunteered for probably just for the big race. I think was the only day that we volunteered last year or the first year,
Hmm.
and met a bunch of people, had a good time, and then the day after the race, we kind of just bebopped around the desert for a little bit. So that was it. It
Yeah.
was fun.
And was it in that moment you were like, one day I will race this? Like when did you get the I'm going to race KOH bug?
Yeah, and is there
It
a lot
was
of women that race the KOH? I was about
not
to say
really.
I don't really see a whole lot.
Yeah, I want to say there's quite a few. I want to say there's at least 10 of us in the Everyman Challenge.
Uh-huh.
But as far as I know, Bailey Campbell's the only one that races in the 4,400 class.
Mm.
And like, please, anybody, if you're out there listening and I'm wrong, get a hold of me and let me know. I want to know if there's other women racing 4,400.
I want to meet
Um,
you.
but what was the question for that?
When did you get the bug? Like when did your mind switch to I'm seeing this for the first time to this is what I want to do. I want to race in this.
Okay, so it's two different things for me because the very first time I came to Hammers, it clicked in my mind. This is what I wanted to do was Hammers, just off-road industry basically. I
Uh-huh.
wanted to I wanted my career to go towards the off-road industry, and I knew that from the time I went to Hammers because back then when you went out there, you were on the lake bed for the whole time you were there, and you wouldn't see a regular car driving around ever.
Mm-mm.
They just weren't there, right? You'd see rock crawlers all day long, and I was just in heaven. So after that, I knew I wanted to be in the off road industry, but I, I want to say it was like 2018 or 2019 where I kind of got the inkling like it'd be really cool to race this one day. Because actually, so the first year that I raced, Jesse Combs had taken first place in the 4,700 spec class that they only had that year. And so it was a spec class. All the cars were exactly the same. And there were, I think, 12 of these cars and all the different drivers. And she won the whole class. So she had
Incredible.
always really inspired me in my welding and racing at KOH. And so I never thought I couldn't do it. But so
Mhm.
2018, 2019 was about the time I wanted, kind of got the inkling. And then in 2019, August of 2019, Jesse passes away setting the land speed record in the Alvord Desert. And that, um, that and that day I called my brother because we were both
Mm.
really big fans, and we're both kind of reminiscing about Jesse. And I'm like, I kind of want to race KOH, and he's like, you should do it. So,
Yeah,
And boom.
that's how it happened.
yep.
Nice.
So that was August of 2019, and so from there to King the Hammers, it was like 6 months. I had my Samurai ready to race, and
That's
before that,
incredible.
like I said, I had kind of gotten the inkling that I wanted to race, and I had never anticipated racing my Samurai. I always thought to myself, I'll build something better, I'll get
Yeah.
something bigger. Samurai is not that great to race. No one's done that before. And so, like, leading up to it, I was pretty nervous. And so at nationals, I lived in Reno at the time, and they had the national Ultra Four race in Reno at that year. So I was kind of building my car to Racing King the Hammers,
Hmm.
and I hadn't told anyone that I wanted to do it yet. So this is October of 2019, and I brought it with me to nationals because I was out there volunteering, and I showed the tech guy, and I was like, "Hey, I want to go racing. Can I race this? And can I do it on 31-inch tall tires?" And he looks it over and he gives me a couple notes, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't see why not." So
The
yeah,
dream was alive.
the dream was alive and
Nice.
verified, valid, valid, valid,
Valified. Yeah.
Validated?
Validated.
validated. Yeah,
Nice. That's always a good feeling when you have, like, what you think is this crazy idea, and then somebody is like, "Yeah, that'll totally work. Why wouldn't it?"
yeah,
So, I
exactly.
know, this year going into the Rebel, Liz and I had this crazy idea to take a manual, and my husband, um, turned over his daily driver to us, which was a manual Tacoma, and that was our big question, like, we can each like, driving the manual, not a problem, driving the manual off-road, not a problem. Can we do the dunes in a manual? And you have some people that were like, "No," and some people that were like, "Of course you can," and so it was those people that were like, "Yeah, why can't you?" And this is how I would go about it. And then, yeah, proof is in the pudding. We took it to Glamis, and we were like, "Oh my god, this could actually work."
Heck yeah!
So
I bet those trucks are super fun with a manual too.
yeah. Well, I went to Nina has a 7-day Glamis training because again, I'm an East Coaster. I don't really drive dunes. And even though I'm not the driver, like it was my goal, my one of my personal goals to learn how to drive in the sand and to drive the
Mhm.
manual in the sand. And so I show up at her training and she starts instructing and I raised my hand and I was like, What do you do if you're in a manual?" And she was like, "Did you bring a manual?" I was like, "I did." And she's like, "Okay,
Remember
we can
this
do
because this is
this."
where we met. I remember
Yeah,
this.
that's where
I
we
was just
met.
like,
Mhm.
because I thought you at that point. I knew you kind of. I could tell. Like I didn't know you yet, and so like
Yeah.
I was observing and watching, and I was like, she knows what she's talking about. But then you asked about the manual. I was like, oh, but they're rallying in a vehicle that they've not done before. I was like, okay, now this is so she. It's kind of like this playing field where she's like, because I'm learning that too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I'm not the driver, so I had never before really driven in the dunes, so it was fun. Nina took it really well and, just rolled with it, and I came out of that with a lot of confidence. I call
Yeah,
it, go ahead.
I was just gonna say you have more control. You have control of your vehicle with it being a manual. Like that, that gives you a little bit. If you learn to drive with it, as far as the manual goes, you have that control. Our vehicles, it does everything for us, and we don't know why. And so, if you know the why,
Yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't ever want to do it. But
No, it was a lot of fun, and to Amber's point when she was talking about her mom earlier, when she was like, "Anything she can get us into, I can get us out of," that was the one thing, that I learned in the dunes is that we could go anywhere we wanted to go. We just had to
Mhm.
pick the right line and the right gear from the
Right.
get-go,
Yeah,
but other than that but yeah, to your point though, it is validating when somebody is like, "Okay, yeah, you can do this," and you're just
yeah.
like, "Crazy dream lives, yay!"
Let's do this.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
do you sign up? Is it like how do you like you have this
Do you
goal,
sign
right? And
up?
I'm like, do you just like, I don't know how this works. Do you just show up in your you don't just show up because you have to have this whole registration thing,
For
right?
King
Like
of the Hand.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's pretty much that. Like honestly, my first year, I think I don't want to say I overthought it. I did overthink it a little bit. But it's not like the Rebel Rally where they have programs to set you up for success. Like King of the Hammers, especially back then, it was basically like, oh, you want to go racing? Here's the rule book, figure it out.
Okay.
So I, most of the stuff that I had to do to my car was stuff to pass tech. So it was just little safety things like,
So you have a
you
tech
know,
too though. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, we've got a pretty stringent safety tech. So like they look at the
Sure.
way the cage is built and make sure everything on the chassis is kosher and nothing's really gonna fall apart. Like these days, we can't even have dented tubes on the chassis; those have to
Okay.
be replaced. Full harnesses, window nets, um, fire extinguishers, helmets, fire
Mhm.
suits, stuff like that. Um, so it was mostly just a process of like buying all the safety stuff
Yeah.
was what I went through, and then also like race prepping the car. So going through and making sure everything, nothing was going to break in the world's hardest one day off road race, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
The best I could.
Yeah.
So
So from that
go.
point that you got the okay and you started getting a list of the tweaking things, you sign up and then you're just like preparing.
Yeah. I know. I can't remember back then if they did it, but like most of the time they'll do like early registration gets a better rate.
Yeah.
Uh, so I signed up as early as I could because I knew I was going to do it and I knew I was going to make it.
Hmm.
I for some reason I had no doubt in my mind, but and yeah, signed up. I actually got my car somewhat together for Thanksgiving that year and went down to Johnson Valley and did a little bit of pre-running and shaking down for
Hmm.
that. Um, and then put the car back in the garage and did all the final prep to it and then brought it out to lake bed. Past tech, I had to go back and forth a couple times because there were just things that I wasn't sure on,
Yeah.
and I never really got any kind of clarification from the rule book. So I asked the tech guys, then I'd go back to camp and fix it the best I could and bring it back, and they're like, no, not quite. So I'd bring it back and do it again. But yeah, got my car to pass tech, and then uh, got in line on race day.
Nice. So outside of vehicle maintenance or initial purchase or whatever, because the vehicle is such a wide variety, about how much is it to like compete in KOH?
So this is a really good question. I appreciate that you asked. I always figured that with my Samurai, I had probably, arguably, the cheapest race program that anyone could run. Um, my vehicle with the purchase price, all in all, I figured was around 10 grand when I
Hmm.
started racing it. Um, and then I put another about 8 grand into going racing. So that's like um, just safety stuff,
Yeah.
registration. Registration is usually one to $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000 per. Um, so yeah, all in all, figured I was into it about 18 grand for a year, and then I come here to Bomber Fab, and one year we prepped Randy's 4400 car, and the prep cost around 50 grand. And that was just the prep. That was not all the travel that we
Wow.
took to the pre-running or the travel to get down to the race or our pit spot or the fuel or anything like that.
So
So
the
Yeah. So,
Suzuki is a way to go if you're wanting.
well, the
if you
the
want, yeah,
budget is somewhat selectable.
Yeah.
totally. If I there's a lot of people that go and race KOH and it's their first year and they get these really, really high expectations. And this is something I learned about during the Rebel Rally is managing expectations. They're like, I'm going to go on a race and I'm going to do well and I'm going to podium my first year. And it's not a realistic goal. And so when I came into it and all I wanted to do was finish, and I gave myself 5 years to meet that goal,
Hmm.
uh, it's a lot of weight off.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
there's that, and so some of these people when they get into it, they're like, I'm going to buy the best car. I'm going to spend 100 grand on a car, and I'm going to do well.
Hmm.
Cars not going to make you do well,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
There
So
you go.
it's
That's it.
yeah, it's
You
just
need the
practice.
talent to back it up.
Yep.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
vehicle is just a tool to get you there, but it's not gonna win. I mean, you can have some perks on vehicles that'll like performance wise, but you know, you got to know how to drive and you got to have that seat time for sure.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
set your expectations low the first couple of years. Get some seat time, like you said. That's the most important thing, and
Yeah.
just don't.
Unless you commit, I will say, unless you commit to a crap ton of training and you want to have the fruits of your reward. Because if you have whole lot of training, you can have a little bit of higher expectations. At least that's my personal, I think.
Fair. Yeah, totally.
Mhm.
I
For
didn't want to
sure, for
win.
sure.
I knew we weren't going to win the rally, but I was like, I was going after Rookie of the Year hard. So
Yeah. So Amber, Kara and her teammate came in second rookie, 19th this year, but they were in the first place rookie contention for most of the rally. But
all of the
I
rally.
was
Go ahead.
I was trying to add up, well, most except for like that last 5 minutes. I was trying to add up in my mind the other day, Kara. Though, how much of the year did you spend away from home
Oh,
training?
a lot. So we're in Arkansas, and so everything out west was like a 2-day drive. So we did 8 trainings out there. So we went to a couple Rebel U's, Nina's class. We trained with previous veterans multiple times throughout the year. So it was between that and expos. We weren't home a whole lot. I
Yeah,
wasn't. My husband was, but yeah, yeah,
It's a commitment.
it was a lot.
yeah.
We hit it hard.
Yeah, but that's like but to my point, like, not everybody has that
Nope.
availability, so being able to put that in is a definite, like, plus side to having a
Mhm.
higher expectation for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you can't do that, then yeah, obviously I think you want to have the expectation that you train for. I mean, set higher ones, of course, because you I feel like you rise to the standard that you set for yourself. But
yeah,
so like the higher goals that you want to hit or whatever. But yeah, it's not definitely not accessible to everybody, and I'm so thankful. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
living proof that the more work you put into it, the better you're going to be at it.
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Seat time over everything when it comes to being a driver, right?
Yep, totally. 100%.
Yeah, yeah. I remember, when we went out to KOH, and it was our first experience and walking up to some of the rock trails because the desert loop is a little bit harder to see because it's kind of out there and it just looks like desert. But the
Hmm.
rocks, I was like, that's not the course. And the people we went with, they're like, no, that's the course. And I was like, stop. No, really, where's the course? And they're like, Ava, seriously, like that is the
Yeah,
course.
it's like
And then,
Boulder Mountain is what it is, like
yeah,
Chocolate Mountain, I think is what they call it.
Chocolate Thunder
Yeah,
is one of
that.
them.
Yeah, that.
We've got Jackhammer and Sledgehammer and Chocolate Thunder and Outer Limits and Aftershock and
I just want
the
to know
list
yeah.
goes on.
who thought of this whenever they were thinking like Chocolate Thunder. Is that because they poop themselves whenever they're going to do it, or are they eating like a
That's
candy bar?
that was pretty much the story, actually. Yeah, there's another trail called Spooners.
Oh, okay,
So
I
yeah,
love it. These desert people and these off roading people got together, and they are they're different people.
oh yeah, different breed altogether.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
will say
But
one of my highlights from the rally this year is going through Slab City, just seeing that whole craziness that was Slab City. That was interesting.
Slab City's so cool. It was yeah, that's a cool spot.
Super eclectic.
Yeah,
yeah, I don't like to stop while I'm there though. Just keep moving.
It was just too windy and dusty the day that we went, or I would have liked to take pictures. But you also see like the crew like making sure everybody's moving because they don't
yeah.
want you to stop. So
Well, so like I don't know, people say that it's pretty unruly out there, but I think we went through there a couple of years ago. Me and my mom went down to a race in Mexico,
mm,
and then drove back up in a Prius and stopped at Slab City. We stopped there, and I don't remember if we actually met anyone while we were there, but there was like an art exhibit, like someone had built this. Heck, where do they display art?
like I don't like a it was
Museum?
like a
Like
gallery.
an open air gallery, and there were
Hmm.
art
Okay.
pieces in there from a whole bunch of different people that lived out there or had come there. And so I got to walk through there, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I've been to Burning Man since then, and it's very Burning Man esque.
Mm, yeah, I've heard that's
Burning
cool
Man
too.
is on my list.
Do it. It's cool.
Yeah. Well, this year I think I'll tackle Rubicon, then maybe kick Burning Man down the road a little ways.
Fair,
We'll
fair.
see. We'll
One
see.
crazy thing at a time.
So
Yeah,
you
exactly.
only did the Rebel once. Is it because of the mother daughter, like, or did like do you were you just like a one and done that just wasn't kind of like your jam? Like you're more of the speed desert kind of thing? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. The speed, the desert, the rock crawling. That's what I live for is the rock crawling. So the trail that Avis walked up to and said, "There's no way that's the trail. That's my jam. That's what I love to do."
I love rock
So
crawling.
there's definitely not enough of that in the Rebel Rally.
Yeah. Have you ever done Pritchett
No.
Canyon?
Oh yeah, I love Pritchett.
It too. My husband has not made it out. He's broken U joint every time.
Oh,
We have
oh,
he has a Gladiator and I have well he doesn't know how to wheel it and so and then I have the Gladiator and the Wrangler but he's done it on Rocker Knocker every time gets him.
oof,
He
lame.
just gets pinned in there and it just but he got some RCVs and so he says with because he's like I'm gonna buy some RCVs like chop my fenders and he's like I won't have any and I was like first he said chop his fenders and then he'll be able to do it and so I think we need to take the RCVs out because I want to see him do it with the chopped fenders because that's what he said he needed.
Yeah, Rocker Knocker is a funny one because like I did that trail in 2019 when I was still on 31s,
Mhm.
and like when my car was it was a stock wheelbase, it's 80 inches,
Did you
and
do
it
it in the
walked right
Samurai?
up. Yeah, in my Samurai, like
Oh,
it was Rocker Knocker was nothing for me on 31-inch tires and stock Samurai axles,
I want to
and
go with you. Can I
I was back there this year on 35s and Toyota axles, and I'm extra wide now, and I couldn't do it.
It's different. Isn't that so? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
after you did you have a lot of seat time in the Toyota? Like, do you feel like you just haven't learned like the actual width of it?
Oh no, it was my Samurai, just bigger.
Oh,
The
oh,
Samurai
so
with
it
the Toyota axles instead of the Samurai
it had
axles.
changed the whole geometric.
Yeah, yeah. I had pushed my front axle out 3 inches, and it was significantly wider, and it was on much bigger tires. It wasn't that much heavier, but
That's
like
hysterical.
it was just exactly the wrong dimensions, and didn't want to do it.
Isn't
I
that
was so
crazy? Because normally, like with, I always say with a Jeep, you can overbuild a vehicle to where it makes the obstacles not as fun because you can't, like, you're just crawling up something. Whereas you have this Suzuki, you know, like Samurai on 31s and you can just like bebop everywhere. But like,
yep.
that's crazy that the opposite.
Yeah. Well, out here in Sand Hollow, our little crawler, it's on 30. It's just a two-door JK, and it hasn't been stretched or anything.
Hmm.
And we get out there, and sometimes we're like, "Oh, well, that's a two-door obstacle and not a four-door obstacle." And other times, it's like, "Yeah, the two-door. Don't even think about that. It's all four-door." So it's just
Yeah.
geometry and
Yeah, wheelbase makes a huge difference in
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
width.
A
the positive
Gladiator.
and negative depending.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we spent I think 2 hours after I don't think it's like the like little ledge thing. I think it don't even have a name at on Pritchett Canyon, but we spent like 2 hours trying to like we ended up taking out the rear tail light to just shimmy it so there wasn't any and this rock that jutted out on the trail on Pritchett went right into Matt's rear tail light where it would have been. And so because we went out there and he still had temporary tags. Like we were still running Pritchett and he just didn't want to damage it at that point. At that point, you know, you're just still a little close to it. So it's
Oh yeah.
like, I love it.
Yeah, it was fun last time I went out because I was with my dad in his four-door JK on 40s,
Hmm.
and our buddy Ozzy, who was in his four-door JL on, I think it was either 37s or 40s. But so we were keeping score of like who would winch and who would break, and I think my dad won that round.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it was a good day.
I love Pritchett
Nice.
so much. I had built my Wrangler. Well, at that point, I had built my Wrangler up to do Pritchett. But then since I've discovered the rally, now I put her on 35. She was on 38. So I moved my 38 to the Gladiator. And so, yeah, love it.
Yeah.
You're my
All
kind of
those
girl.
crazy trails are on Rob's list this year, so we'll be making the rounds.
Oh, please holler at me.
Holler at a
Holler,
girl.
holler at your girl.
Sometimes I have to have Kara translate out of Arkansas into non-Arkansas states.
That's what you and Nina say to me, and I don't understand because you're from the South-ish.
The
I
South
mean,
End.
technically, I am from south of the Mason-Dixon line, which makes me a Southerner. But I'm about as far north as you can be and still be a Southerner. Like, I can't say y'all. Ugh.
Wow, that's an actual
Way.
word. It's
I
of
know.
you
I
all.
get it.
I know. I say you guys. I'm politically incorrect. I say you guys.
Do you drink soda?
Or pop.
No, I drink water.
If you drink oh my gosh, I'm just gonna punch you through
Yeah, I
this.
would say soda.
Yeah, I drink everything as a Coke.
Yeah. I was
Everything
gonna
is
say I would say, do you want a Coke? But because that's what I used to drink when I drank sodas. But I say soda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
same soda.
Soda. Are you're born and raised in California though, right, Amber? Or no?
Native Californian, moved to Nevada, wanted to escape. So
Yeah.
You call
I
Nevada an escape from California?
heck
That's just
yeah.
it's so close.
I know.
That's
It's
so
not
far away. It's so different though.
it's as close as you can get to California without being in California and paying the taxes. So
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
And the amount of BLM land in Nevada is insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one thing
More
y'all
than
have on us.
for sure.
Yeah.
Sadness.
Okay, good. So this has been productive. So far we're doing Rubicon with the Zukis, and we're doing Pritchett Canyon with a Zuki and some Jeeps.
Heck yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. I'm going to start filling out my calendar and holding you guys to these trips.
So Amber, back to the suspension on the Suzuki. Like, so if I wanted to get total chaos, like how would I put the total chaos suspension on a Suzuki Samurai? Like, could you do that since you put the Toyota components?
So the Toyota components that I put on my Samurai are from way older Toyotas than what you're thinking.
Oh,
Because
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Total Chaos doesn't make anything for a solid front axle Toyota.
I don't know. Avis would be my personal on that.
No, I'm pretty sure they're all IFS because that's what Toyota is known for in most
Yeah.
recent history.
Yeah, I'm
Solid
pretty sure
axle Toyota is old. How old is that?
85 and before were solid axle.
Yeah.
I need an 83. So I was born in 83. So that's why I need an 83.
Nice. My dad's first rock crawler was an 83 Toyota pickup.
Juice.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. So, okay, are you going to do the Rebel again ever? Are you going to do KOH for the rest of your life?
In 4
Oh.
years when she's racing that Suzuki 4030.
That's true. Would that be
No,
acceptable?
just kidding.
Is that, you think you could will?
Her stock. Remember that one was stock.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I've got one completely stock Samurai.
Oh, that's
and
right.
then my built one too. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
just
the built one, there's no way. I mean, you couldn't even take enough parts off of it, realistically.
yeah. Actually, I don't know. That one's kind of a gray area because it is on 35-inch tires, which is the max tire size, right? And
Yeah.
it's still on
Yeah.
Well, no, it's 37s now because they changed that because the Bronco.
Oh, right.
But you
Yeah,
you
that's
don't you don't want to use you don't need 37s. Honestly, that's too
Raptor
much.
varieties come with 37s, so it's
Mhm.
stock now.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to
Yeah.
look further into it, but I wouldn't really want to do it because I can't put a top and doors back on my race car to have AC.
Yeah. No, and I think your axles can only be 3.5 inches wider
Wide.
than stock.
Okay, if that's the stipulation, then yeah, then it definitely won't pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was talking to another potential rookie from here in the southern Utah area, and she's like, "Well, I'll take this Jeep," and I was like, "Well, no, you won't," and this is why. She was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, okay, yeah."
Yeah, my mom
That's not
actually
gonna work.
bought the Fordo JK that I was telling you about earlier. That's my dad's that we did Pritchett with. My mom and my dad actually bought that with anticipating that my mom would use that for the rally, but then read the rule book and you can't have long arms, and that thing's got long arms and 40s and Dana 60s and all that stuff. So they were like, "Oh crap! Well, now what? Well, we've got a Vehicross."
Let's go. And they
Yeah.
put red dots all over it, Carrie. We'll have to find a picture for
I
you.
will.
But you guys were what, rocking the dots? And that
Yeah,
was to represent Jesse Combs?
yep, it was that was kind of our big I don't want to say like our title sponsor, but like our big
Yeah.
push cause whatever that we supported for Rebel Rally was the Jesse Combs Foundation, and their theme is kind of like red polka dots, right?
Yeah.
Because Jesse
Yeah.
was red polka dots, and so we got little red polka dots made and put them all over the car. So that
That's
was like our wrap.
that's
It
awesome.
was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
So what are you gonna do with
Going
the
back
Suzuki that
oh,
is stock? I'm still on the Suzuki. You're gonna have to give me a minute.
I just leave that one stock and I just kind of bebop it around the hills every once in a while, or go get groceries with it, or
It's the
you know,
grocery getter.
just a grocery getter. I just love that little car. I've had that one almost as long as my race car, so I'll never get rid of it.
So what you're saying is you're a collector.
Little bit of a hoarder, yeah. I've got enough parts in my Connex to build at least one more Samurai.
sweet.
I
Kara
hear
will
an
buy that.
opportunity. Okay, go ahead, Amos.
I was just gonna say, so I know that you said your whole family is into it, and you kind of discovered KOH together, but your mom sort of has this legendary camp that she sets up at KOH. When did that start? Kara, she has like a food tent, and you go and you eat together, and they do a giant what do you call the oil burner things? They make
Oh,
heat.
you're
A
talking about the heat.
lantern?
No, it's this
My pot.
western. Yes, smudge pot. It's this thing
Yeah.
that they do out here in the West
Oh,
where they
yeah.
burn oil in these, like,
Yeah, like a
almost art
chimenea kind of.
Yeah.
sorta, yeah.
Uh, what else do they call them? Orchard heaters.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm. So when did that start and come about? Because, I mean, it really is legendary.
Man, so when it came about is actually a really good question. I'd have to sit down with my mom and ask like exactly the year, but like um we knew from our first KOH that you had to get there early to get a good spot.
Mhm.
And so my parents just started going earlier and earlier and staying the whole time.
So that's where
And
they're
now
at
my
right now.
yeah, it's pretty much like my mom goes down um usually around New Year's. She takes her motorhome. She takes her motorhome and leaves it down there with a friend at Thanksgiving, and then comes home after
That's
that. And then from New Year's until the end of King of the Hammers, which is the second week in February, she's there almost 2 months, right?
yeah.
Okay, month and 2 weeks. And she'll stay down there on the lake bed in the motorhome the whole for the duration of it. So she saves a really big spot for all of us. And so I guess how it started was just us getting there earlier and having a good spot, and then inviting all of our friends to come.
I don't have a job, so I will be there.
Sweet.
Let me know. I will put some oil on the orchard. I don't know.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, we've got I can't remember what the head count was from last year, but it we block off like 2 or 3 acres
I
probably.
want to
And we
go. I've never been.
come with us. Like, what do you have to camp in?
I have a vehicle that has a rooftop tent on it. I sleep in it.
Sweet.
I make a little very footprint. It's very small.
Perfect.
I have a
We
Starlink.
Let's go.
I have all the
And
things.
the magic words are, "I know Dolly."
pretty
Okay.
much. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can know
We're
Amber and Stuart and the rest of her family, but I know Dolly, and they will tell you where she is and what she's doing, and you can go
Well,
hang
Amber
out
has the
wherever she
vehicle and
is.
she drives, so I want to go with her because I want to ride.
No, no,
And
they're all together. They're all together.
oh, okay. Oh, I
all
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
together.
It's like a big compound.
We call it
And the
Hammertown Heights.
vehicles
Yes.
stay with you.
Yeah.
Oh, I figured they would be like in a secluded. I'm Rebel Rally, like an impound kind of thing. So
No, yeah, no, we
okay.
don't have any kind of impound or anything like that because during King of the Hammers week or the weeks leading up to it, the whole, like I said, the whole event's about 3 weeks long.
Hmm.
And we usually don't get the course maps until like the Thursday before the last week. So we've got about a week and no, yeah, we've got about a
Oh,
week to study the course files and go pre-running. So everyone's
so you
vehicles
do get
stay
to
well.
pre-run it?
Yep, we get to pre-run it. So
I'm just so in, like I'm just. There's so many questions.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
very
my question first. So I'm obviously a navigator. You two are drivers. I've made it clear I'm not a quote a driver. I can drive. I'm a competent driver. It's just not my thing. I like to be in the second seat. So, what does your co-driver do during King of the
Do
Hammers?
you have a co-driver?
Yes, I have a co-driver.
Are you
Back
taking
off, lady.
applications? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Back off, lady.
We use Lowrance units,
Yeah.
if you guys are familiar.
I'm not.
Um, it's like it's a fish finder basically that they put on boats and stuff, but you can download
Oh, okay.
GPS
It's
into it.
a mapping system. Gotcha.
It's a mapping system, yeah. And so we've
Instead of a
got one of
paper map.
Mhm.
instead of a paper map. We've got one of those in the car, and in my cars at least, the co-driver watches that the whole time and calls out like left turns, right turns, hard left, hard right. You know, we have to go through virtual checkpoints
Mhm.
that it's not like Rebel Rally. It's kind of like a black checkpoint for Rebel Rally. It's not marked at all, but you have to hit these checkpoints in order
Do you have a
to.
clicker or what? Like a
We
tracker?
don't have we do have GPS trackers on the car, and that's how they make sure that we've
Oh,
hit the
okay.
checkpoint.
So what I'm
Uh,
hearing is it's basically like Mario Kart.
yeah, yeah, it's definitely Mario Kart esque.
I'm
It
so
gets pretty.
pumped. Like he lives on my wrist, y'all. Where's it at? There he is.
There he is.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so and then in the rock section they pull winch line or spot you or pick lines or
Yeah.
That's what
Like,
your navigator does.
yep. If you do get stuck, if you need to get winched out, anything like that, it's usually the co-driver that'll get out and run the winch. This year, I'm going to brag about this a little bit. I did the whole unlimited class race, and I never got stuck, and I never had to winch, and I
get
never
out.
blew either.
Nice.
Yeah, I came in 21st, which wasn't as good as I wanted to do, and I did more miles than anybody else
Better than I
because I
did.
messed up.
I didn't do it. So that's better than I did. Boom.
But yeah, so
Right?
yeah, so the co-driver will get out and they'll run the winch line and stack rocks if they have to. So
I'm willing.
Hey, there's a line and it's behind me. Do you hear me? Amber, tell her you're not looking, but if there's a line, it's behind me.
yes.
See? Yeah.
I didn't hear that. I
That's
heard that
right.
I have a chance. I am taller and I can see further.
Well, this is true. My other question was, you said this, so your co-driver will call turns. So what I've been learning is in my experiences and interviews. So in the Rebel, it depends on your driver. If they want it to be like a 90-degree turn, a sharp turn, and then in stage rally, they rate them 1 through 4. How is there a standard way to call turns? No, just
Not
whatever
so much.
you and your driver work out.
Yeah, it's pretty much just co-driver or driver. As far as course markings go, because our courses are marked. It's not like
Mhm.
Rebel Rally where you have to figure out where you're going just by a map.
Yeah.
So if we have like a really, really sharp turn in the desert, that it'll count down. So the first marker will be 3 arrows, the second marker will be 2 arrows, and then 1 arrow, and then a really sharp turn.
And that's your
So we've
mapping
got
system?
that's a little bit of a standardized bit, but as far as driver co-driver communications go, it's pretty much every man for himself.
But is that in your mapping system whenever you're going to see that step down?
um
Or how do you see, like, because you said it's not like there's not a flag or anything out there?
it depends. So like I said, we can pre-run, and the co-driver can make as many notes as they want to.
Oh, okay. So, okay. I'm just used to like the map system. So, okay.
Yeah, so we'll mark out
Fascinating.
things like hard turns or dangers. Like if there's a rock that we're probably gonna hit in a corner, we'll mark that. If there's a really big whoop that's really squared off on one side that if you go into it too fast, you're definitely gonna crash. We'll mark stuff like that. So
Yeah, yeah. So, when is
Okay.
actual King of Hammers this next year?
I have to pull up my calendar. Traditionally, it's the first full week of February, and this year it is January 23rd through February 8th. So my race day is Friday, February 7th.
Friday, February 7th in the Bomber, which is number what? What's your car number?
I'm shooting for 70. I haven't completely gotten like approval on that number yet. I have gotten it from KOH, but Randy hasn't let me do it yet.
Okay. So 4870 would be the number that you desire.
Just 70.
Oh, just 70.
Just 70.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why 70?
That's kind of just my lucky number. I've been running that since high school. So.
Okay. Gotcha. So do you get to keep your number? You don't get to keep your number like every year?
So my Samurai has always been the same number. Usually a driver will keep the same number. And
Okay.
honestly, 70 was the number that I should have put on my Samurai. I should have been racing 70 the whole time.
Gotcha.
But my Samurai has always been 468.
Okay. So I should show up around mid-January. You laugh, Avis, but I'm
You
going to
don't
show
want to
up.
do that.
Yeah, that's fine. Come on, we'll go.
I'll come and swing by and grab you.
Yeah, well, I have your Jeep, so
I know. I have another vehicle, though. I have 2
that's
vehicles.
true. Well, I would be very disappointed if you went to Nevada and did not let me know.
I've always
Just
wanted to go to
saying.
Hammers. I've never been. I've always watched it on TV. And I have Carrie Porter from Discover 4x4 Adventures. She's done the rally. I don't know if you know her, Amber, but they always go to Hammers. And so I've always told her I'm going to come with her and just surprise her. But now I know Dolly, so
There you go.
That's all I gotta say. That's the magic
You know the
word.
mayor.
But so, if it's anyone that wants to try King of the Hammers for their first time, I always recommend if you just want to dip your feet and you don't want to be out there for the whole week, you can go for the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the very last week. So that would be like this.
the 8th, 7th, and
8th, 7th, 6th, 5th, or
ish,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, just go for the last 3 days, and that's the biggest of the big events. You've got the UTV race on Thursday, you've got the Everyman Challenge on Friday, and the Unlimited class race on Saturday, and that's the big race. That's what everyone's going for. That's
awesome.
the good stuff. So yeah, just to dip your feet, just hang out for 3 days and see how much you hate the desert after that.
Yeah.
How do you even how do you whenever you're there, how do you watch everybody compete? Like, because it's a lap, and so it's not, or like, do people go over there by the rocks and
There are spectator areas in the
okay.
rocks and out in the desert, and they're all marked too. So, like when you come through the front gate at King of the Hammers, they'll usually hand you a map of spectator areas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah, they make it spectator friendly for sure.
Oh yeah. They're all like super accessible, more or less. So
Yeah. Sweet. I'm so
Yeah.
fascinated, and now I have so many plans. Maybe these podcasts aren't the greatest things.
I told you would learn a lot.
I love it.
Well, on that note, ladies, I'm going to wrap us up. It's been just over an hour. Believe it or not. I mean, just
I'm
having a great old
blessed.
time. I know. Amber, thank you so much for giving us your time today, and we
Yeah.
appreciate all your stories and your knowledge. Hopefully we're going to see you on the trails.
Oh yeah, see you at KOH.
I can't
There
wait
you
to meet
go.
you in person.
Yeah, likewise.
All right. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
See you, Amber.
Bye.